Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Warm welcome from Analytix company. We're here to give you meaningful insights related to investment opportunities and strategic incentives in Saudi Arabia. Myself, I'm Marina Llabani. I'm the host of today's webinar. With me here is also Mr. Mohammed Afnas, which is going to guide you through market entry insights, as well as Mr. Mohammed Alqahtani, which is going to guide you through legal advisory aspects for the companies that they would like to expand to Saudi. Just to give you a brief presentation about us, we are Analytix Arabia. We are a global management consultancy firm with more than 16 years of experience in this field and with 8+ different country presence internationally. As of now, we have assisted more than 2,200 companies to set up their base in Saudi, with a team member of more than 250 professionals, always here to support you through all the process and all the scopes of the process. We provide key business services to our clients, including accounting, bookkeeping, taxation, auditing, PR and GRO services, business setup, as well as management consultancy. So let's dive in why Saudi Arabia. As we all know, Saudi Arabia now is becoming the top choice as an emerging prime location for investment and business expansions due to their economic growth, due to strategic location, as well as the Vision 2030. The Vision 2030, I don't know if all of you are familiar with this vision. This vision was launched back at 2016. And this aims to diversify the economy and to reduce its dependence on oil, creating new opportunities for businesses as well as investments in non-oil related sectors, such as wholesales, retail, IT, infrastructure, logistics, etc. I would like to highlight here the strategic location and connectivity, which makes Saudi Arabia a gateway that connects Saudi within Asia, Africa, as well as Europe, which fosters businesses to a vast and growing market. Infrastructure development in Saudi nowadays, you can see that is booming. They are giving more and more priority to transportation, logistic technology. I would like to mention here the taxation system in Saudi. If we have to do a comparison between Saudi and Europe, you are going to understand that government policies are really friendly to investors and to businesses' growth when it comes to tax incentives. Due to the high population of Saudi Arabia, which it is like around 33 million citizens, there is a high demand for e-commerce. People nowadays, they are using more internet and having more internet access, which guides us also like to a need for goods and services due to the high populations that they are having. In the challenges and considerations, as a person that has lived in Saudi for more than 5 years, I would like to mention here the cultural context, meaning that you have to understand and to respect local customs, tradition, authorities, in order for your business to be successful in Saudi Arabia. This is a list of services, a range of services that our company is providing. So you can see it highlighted here as business setup, accounting, bookkeeping, tax filing and audit support, visa, PR and GRO services, company dissolution services, corporate advisory, assistant in factory setup, virtual office address, banking support, business expansion, as well as trademark registration. Thank you for hearing me out. Thank you for your time. I would like to head up the mic to Mr. Mohammed Afnas. Mr. Mohammed Afnas, please go on.
Thank you, Marina. Marina, I hope my screen is visible now, right?
Yes, it is visible.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this particular webinar, which is hosted by Analytix. So here today, we speak about what are the various investment opportunities and the incentives that are being announced by the government of Saudi Arabia. Well, in the past 2 years, we have seen an influx of opportunities flowing into this beautiful country. In different sectors and different spheres, we have seen a lot of interest from multinational companies, be it in the form of RHQs or be it in the form of non-RHQs, expressing their interest and intent to tap on the vast opportunities that is underlying in this kingdom. Well, in the past 20 years that we have seen, while the economy was completely dominated by the oil revenues and the oil reserves, in the very recent years, there are a lot of diversifications happening under the Vision 2030 program. As Marina introduced about the Vision 2030 program, which was launched in the year 2016 as a part of the government's initiative to diversify away from oil and create a self-independent economy. There are a lot of industries that are getting open now in their pursuit of becoming self-reliant. Well, some of the industries that we handpicked from our research and findings are what we are discussing today. Well, in that process, agriculture and food processing, in terms of relying or under relying on the import of what the Saudi does on the food sector, what typically goes to is that to form a self-independent system where agriculture and food processing happens domestically. So when these kind of industries flourish, there are a lot of other industries that can also attract for on a leverage effect. So talking about the food processing, we have seen a lot of Saudi brands that are coming up in multiple sectors. Very recently, the take on the global carbohydrated drink by the PIF, which is the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Saudi Arabia, funded brand called as Milaf, is hitting the global markets now. So what the message is very clear that we would want to create an economy which is completely reliant and independent and to create and unleash the resources, whatever is available. The second sector, what we see is energy. Of course, the dependencies on oil is lowering down. However, converting from oil and oil-related products to make sustainable energy is something what the government is looking again. The other sector is the healthcare and life sciences, where the healthcare industry, be it in the brick and mortar format, like the hospitals or the clinics, are getting a lot of mandate these days, along with life sciences in the form of pharmaceuticals and pharma companies are also expanding their footprints to the Saudi market, owing to the advantage what the kingdom has got on a geographical spread. If you look at the geographical area of Saudi Arabia, the good part is that more than 70% of the global reach can be reached in less than 7 hours, which it itself gives an advantage to look at the opportunities in the export segment. Coming to the further down, manufacturing is one of the key sectors that we have seen a lot of companies that come up and do domestic productions here. One of the key reason is the land cost, what the government gives as an incentive. Apart from that, there are debt funding supports that are given by the government in terms of pharma company, in terms of the manufacturing companies that come to Saudi Arabia. Pharma and biotech is another sector. Of course, as a downstream from the oil, chemicals is something that we've been reliant on. Real estate, yes, we have seen an influx of opportunities coming from real estate, thanks to the upcoming mega events that are planned up in the kingdom, which is the Expo 2030, the FIFA World Cup 2034, the AFCs. All these things directly or indirectly correlate for the growth of real estate. Financial services is something that needs to be really looked into, where we have seen a lot of digitizations happening in this particular domain. Payment banks are getting up opened, payment bank licenses are being cleared. However, the use of digital banking system in the past 5 years, we have seen there is a lot of interest coming in where technology-enabled finance products are getting more dominance. Looking at the other sectors, transport and logistics, yes, given the size of the economy, the size of the country, there's a lot of inland transportation required. In that scenario, the transportation logistic industry is gaining more attention. Well, looking at the other set of resources, what the government has or what the country has apart from oil is the mining and metals. Tourism as part of bringing the global heritage or the Saudi heritage to showcase to the global one of the key things that we have seen very recently is the tourism and quality of life, which is directly correlating to getting a lot of sporting events into the country. Just 2 months ago, we had one of the biggest festivals happening here in the kingdom, in the city of Jeddah, which the Formula One has been taking place for succeeding the 5th year now. So these are some of the elements that we see that the growth is inherent. Of course, with this growth, there are a lot of opportunities again going on in the ICT sectors, the human capital innovations, Air Force and Defense are some of the handpicks. Moving on to some of what are the incentives that are being deployed or given by the government to select sectors are one in the form of cash incentives, capital deployment when it comes to manufacturing businesses or industrial businesses. There are possibilities of getting funding up to 50% of your total capex. So that depends on what the kind of business that it is, how the value addition to the economy is, and on that sphere, there is a semi-government institution that is supporting to fuel by giving debt facilities for projects that are highly convincing. Sponsored services and inputs. Lastly, fiscal tax regulatories, which in the form of custom duties and drawbacks. These are some of the initiatives and incentives that are being given for industrial companies as such. Now, speaking about the industrial sector, as I said, the government is backing up with a 10 billion Saudi Riyal fund to give various benefits to eligible projects in various spheres. In our experience, some of our clients have already entitled these benefits, which are in the chemical sector, which are in the manufacturing sector, which are in the food processing sectors. These sectors have got a lot of demand, and the government is looking at fueling it by supporting these businesses with a stretched facility of minimum of 15 years to a maximum of 20 years, with a moratorium of minimum of 5 years. So industries which are into manufacturing, into automotive, into chemicals, into machinery and equipment, into food processing are gaining attention these days, given the demand in the domestic market, also for the export markets. Well, to add on to compete with a global brand like Lucid, we have the facility to compete with the global brands like Tesla. We have the automotive facility, which is happening in one of the special economic zones in the kingdom, which is funded by the PIF, which is called as Lucid, along with a locally grown brand called as Seer. So there are sectorial focuses and special economic zones for each of the industry specific activities that are coming in the kingdom. There are currently 6 special economic zones that are actively functioning and getting into the sphere. Now, why these kind of initiatives? Yes, to attract global talent, to attract global businesses to the kingdom, and also to incentivize the foreign investors so that they can flourish and then do their businesses that deemed necessary in the kingdom, which adds benefits. Some of the angles that we really look into it in the recent past, the renewable energy, the technology sector, the tourism, all avenues are getting fueled up. With the 5 trillion size of an economy for these sectors, there are growth that can really come up with the activation of these special economic zones. Now, coming up to the tax benefits, what we see in the kingdom here, there are no personal income taxes that is applied. There is a straight cut 20% corporate income tax for foreign companies. Well, in the case of VAT, there is a 15% VAT applied for any kind of trade or service. However, the WHT is again applied on transactions that are being remitted to foreign companies on different nature. It ranges from 5% to all the way to 20%. However, there are double treaty or DTT arrangements with different countries, and in that scenario, it can be factored out, and then you could be only paying at one destination. Now, there are certain sector-specific taxations in terms of sin tax that is applied for carbohydrate drinks, sugar drinks, which are in different ranges. Of course, there are custom duty that are applied for products that gets imported based on different product ranges and the sectors, what it is, be it the electronic, food, or building material as such. Well, one of the key things that we have seen in the recent past is the initiative to bring global MNCs to Saudi Arabia in the form of regional headquarters. As of now, there are multinational companies, you name it, from the Europe, from the US, that have moved their multinational operations or the regional headquarters to Saudi Arabia, and to attract RHQs to come up and have their regional headquarters in Saudi Arabia, there is a 0% corporate income tax, which means there is a tax holiday for about 30 years. And there are a lot of benefits that come up for RHQs in the form of Saudiizations as well when you attract global talent and keep your global strategic offices in the kingdom here. To conclude on my presentation, some of the sectors that we see which has got a lot of opportunities, which you may want to tap on, is industrial manufacturing in the field of automotive, chemicals, machinery and equipment manufacturing, which has got a lot of financial incentives that would support the businesses. Second thing, tourism and entertainment. As I said, Saudi Arabia or the Saudi people are one among the top spenders for tourism and entertainment. Well, in the recent past, what we have seen is that there's a lot of remittances that has been going from the country to outside, be it to the Europe, to the US, or the outer GCC in terms of their entertainment spending. But with the initiative to make the spending within the economy, the government is building world-class destinations like Neom, like Al Ula, like the Qiddiya, which would attract people from outside of the country to also come in. At the same time, there are festivals that happen on multiple intervals in each of the cities to propel the domestic spending. So entertainment, tourism, anything that is related and correlated, which are allied industries, would also get certain level of attention in terms of tourism and entertainment. Well, as I said in the beginning, digital is one of the core front of the Vision 2030 program. And since Marina have spoken about the population, to your information, roughly around 70% of the population in Saudi Arabia is under the age of 35, which gives a clear-cut indication that the demographic dividend of the country is really, really high. This also indicates that the technology adoption and the usage of digital economy and e-commerce is really gaining attention. We have seen regional brands which are participating in the e-commerce, aiming to enter and being entered into the market and really gaining strength of days. So e-commerce and digital economy is something that is a third pick from our side. Apart from that, what I would like to speak about is whenever you're planning about your market entry into the kingdom, it is very much important that you understand the complete legal structure. There are multiple legal structures that are available in terms of the subsidiary or branch format. Along with when you enter to the market, you need to do a really good assessment in terms of what your strategies could be and what kind of strategies would be definitely following through. In terms of identifying your customer segmentations, your adept business model, what needs to be worked out if you're working on a trading business to expand to the kingdom becomes a really big question. So with this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you so much for listening to me. Over to you, Marina.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Afnas. It was really helpful and insightful. Mr. Mohammed Alqahtani, could you please start?
Yeah, you can hear me, Ms. Marina?
Yes, Mr. Mohammed Alqahtani, go on.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar. We will talk about, in my section, I'm going to talk about the legal and regulatory in Saudi Arabia. The laws and the clarification of in Saudi Arabia in 2022 has been launched the new companies law, came with new regulations and including the introduction of the simplified joint stock companies, and it's the important rule coming with this new companies law. Also, the labor law provides the structured rules around the employment contracts, Saudization, also wage and leave. And we have the commercial courts law. it's making the easier for the investor to track fast their commercial cases and supporting the investor to have their confidence. Key regulatory authorities. We have some of the authorities here in Saudi Arabia. It's the Ministry of Justice, and they are doing a great job to digitization their legal servers. Over 80% of the legal process are now digital. We have also SEMA, it's the Capital Market Authority. It's important for the listed companies and for the investors who want to the companies listed to establish there in Saudi Arabia. We have MISA, Ministry of Investment. It's the ministry to have for the investor to have his license and start his business in Saudi Arabia. It's a non-stop shop for the foreigners to get the license, the imported license to start their business. Zakat and Tax and Customs Authority, ZATCA, enforce tax regulations, including Zakat, corporate income tax, and VAT. Now we talk about foreign investment regulations. Now with the new laws, it's allowed for the foreign to own his 100% of shares of his company, and taking the license from Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Investment. Some of the sectors the investor need to get the additional approval, like if he want to invest in real estate in the holy cities Mecca and Medina. And we will talk now about the fast track digital setup. MISA, the Ministry of Investment, they have Invest Saudi platform, enables the businesses to able for license and register with the Chamber of Commerce and access incentives online. A new law and how it's make business easier in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia now, as we said before, it's allowed for the investor to own his company with 100% in LLC and with the joint stock company. With the joint stock company also, it can be a one-person shareholder. Commercial dispute relations are now averaged under 6 months, thanks to the detected commercial courts and digital filings. Also, the labor reforms ending the sponsorship system and have improved job mobility and attracted over 1 million foreign professionals post-reform. E-commerce, like what Ms. Marina mentioned, e-commerce regulation protect digital transaction and consumer rights, supporting around $13 billion online and market to 2023. Thank you for listening to my section. I will hand the mic to Marina.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed, for your presentation. We really appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
So right now we are going to start the Q&A session. Mr. Afnas?
Yes, Marina.
Which sectors do you see as the most promising for foreign investor under Vision 2030?
Well, it depends on the industry that we select based on the objectives. But as I said in the beginning, anything that attracts to the next 10 years of growth in terms of the mega events that is coming up in Saudi Arabia, which is the Vision 2030 program, or be it the alignment with it in terms of the Expo 2030 and FIFA World Cup. Real estate is a good handpick, of course, in a capital like Riyadh. People who have visited Riyadh in the past 5 years, we would have necessarily seen what the changes are coming in the capital of Saudi Arabia. Well, real estate is one. F&B sector, yes, that has got a lot of growth as we see more consumer preferences and consumer demand coming in. F&B is a good sector that to tap on. Manufacturing is something that has got a lot of interest. Why? Because the empty lands, what is available in the kingdom, that is getting tapped very recently in a very, very large ratio. Thanks to the efforts to build up the demand in the domestic market, also for the export demand. So for me, real estate, entertainment, the F&B sector, and manufacturing would be a good pick to look at it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Mr. Mohammed Katani? How have labor reforms, particularly the end of the kafala system, changed the landscape for hiring skilled foreign professionals?
Now the new regulation, the labor law, has given a flexible for the foreign employee to have a choice after the contract. It's depends on his contract with the company. I think if this is the question you mean.
Yes, thank you very much.
Any comments from you, Afnas?
No, that's good to go.
Thank you very much, Mr. Katani. Mr. Afnas, could you please tell us how is the government supporting innovation in traditionally oil-dominated sectors like energy and chemicals?
Can you repeat the question, Marina, once?
Could you please tell us how is the government supporting innovation in traditionally oil-dominated sectors like energy and chemicals?
Okay, well, if you look at the initiative, what is being taken up by the government in terms of the technology implementation in the traditional sectors, which is the chemicals and oil, right? One of the key initiatives that we have seen very lately is that there's a lot of investments that is being implemented on an advanced level, right? Second thing is the consolidation of various of the chemical companies and the oil sector companies into one single umbrella, and to use these funds to deploy it appropriately to grow it in a very technology advanced way. Also, in the Vision 2030 program, there are special, incentives that have been allocated for the consideration for the growth of the chemical and oil sectors. So, in a way, it is, yes, slightly dependent on the oil sector. However, the technology advancements are happening more in the non-oil and non-chemical sectors, I would say, at this point of juncture.
Thank you for your answer. Mr. Katani, in case of a United Arab Emirates registered company operates in Saudi, in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, what will be the tax as a GCC company? Mr. Mohammed?
It will be the same of the Saudi's companies, 2.5%.
Marina, if I may add, Alqahtani, if I may add some points over here. If the question is read appropriately, a GCC company is regarded as an Emirates company. If it's from the United Arab Emirates, the real ownership is with the shareholders as Emiratis. It will be treated same like whatever a Saudi citizen is being treated. However, if the UAE registered company is a foreign company,
it's just a UAE registered company. It is just a UAE registered company. It doesn't give details related to the ownership, like if he's a citizen.
He mean the owner is a Khaliji, a GCC owner.
There is no specific information if the owner he is a GCC passport holder. The only information in the question it is that the company is registered in UAE. So in case if they would like to operate in Saudi, what will be the tax at the moment that they are incorporated already in UAE?
Okay, yeah, Marina, I'll just give an answer to it. So let's assume that the UAE company is 100% owned by an Emirati national. In that scenario, the same tax treaties will be applied as a KSA or a Saudi citizen. Well, if it is the otherwise, if the company is owned by a foreign company or a foreign national, the treaty would be as a foreign company, which is 20% corporate tax. If in case it's a mixed company between Emirati and a foreigner, the share capital would be in a different manner. However, when it comes to Saudi Arabia, any foreign company that has been expanding, a foreign exposed company is expanding to the kingdom, it will be treated as a foreign company under the MISA. However, in the case of a Khaliji company, which is owned by an Emirati, it will be treated as a GCC company. So the treaties are different based on the capital structure of the company is concerned. I hope it answers the question.
Thank you very much. Mr. Afnas, what upcoming mega projects or government initiatives should investors keep an eye on in the next 2 to 3 years?
Well, I think that was covered in the presentation. I would pick up again, which is entertainment sector is a booming sector. Gaming is another sector that you will have to keep a watch on. Of course, real estate, and lastly, manufacturing and F&B.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mohammed Katani, which city among Riyadh, Jeddah, and Dammam will be most suitable for small medium enterprises manufacturing?
Well, all these cities are biggest cities in Saudi Arabia, so it will be suitable to choose from one of them.
Yeah, Marina, I'll just add on to the
if you want
point.
to add,
Well,
Mr. Afnas.
Yes, please. Thank you, Katani. So, well, if you look at the structure of the geography of Saudi Arabia, Riyadh as the capital is sitting in the center of the kingdom, which is the central province, while Dammam is on the eastern province, while Jeddah is in the western province. So it depends on what your sectors are. If the sector is largely related with state-owned companies to supply it to companies like Sabiq and Aramco, I would definitely say it's going to be in Dammam. However, if you're tapping on to do the export of products to the African region and to the Europe region, either between Dammam and Jeddah would be meaningful. Now, if you look at a consumer standpoint on to distribute and tap on the domestic demand of your business, the most important market would be Riyadh. However, it all depends on how you plan your logistics. As I said, the country is quite large, and when you plan up your activities in terms of supply chain, you need to really do a forecasting of what exactly your customer models would be, your customer segmentations would be, and appropriately take up the manufacturing plant in an apt location that would cater to your domestic demand, also to your export demand.
Thank you very much, Mr. Afnas. We also have another question for you. How much riyals will be the paid up capital for trading sector?
Well, for the trading sector, Marina, it's going to be a 30 million share capital on 30 million Saudi Riyal share capital that will have to be shown for trading businesses across any trading kind of businesses.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed Afnas, Mr. Mohammed Katani. Thank you all the participants for joining us today. We were very delighted to have you here in today's webinar of Analytix. For all the questions that you might have, anything that you might require, do not hesitate to contact us. This is my WhatsApp number. In Europe, is Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and Qatar. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.